Hi, Venture Partners. We are a deep tech revenue accelerator and fund based out of Singapore with approximately 100 portfolio startups. A few weeks back, we hosted a thought leadership panel to discuss innovations, trends, and policies that are disrupting the pharmaceutical industry. And we specifically discussed drug launch space with a couple of pharmaceutical industry leaders from different parts of the world. Today, we are hosting a pretty unique and exciting event where subject matter experts will grill and roast Conformance X, and that's why we call it a roast session. Why a roast session? And the reason is pretty interesting. When most of the time startups do pitch their solution to the potential partners, customers, VCs, they get a very sugar-coated BS, which doesn't help founders at all. And that's why it's very important for the founders to learn from the brutal feedback from the direct questions that subject matter experts may pose in front of them. And obviously, when they are able to get the brutal feedback, then only they'll be able to improve and grow. And that's the reason that we love hosting roast sessions for our portfolio startups. Just to give you a background, Conformance X is one of the portfolio startups that we onboarded in July 2023 program. They offer an AI-powered solution, Brand Launch X, that you probably see on background of Ankitash and Abhijit, that helps drug launch leaders to de-risk and optimize the drug launch process. We have Ankitash and Abhijit with us, who are the founders of Conformance X. I would request Abhijit to give a very brief intro before we dive into the introduction of panelists, and then we will dive into the pitch of Conformance X.
Thank you, Pankaj. So I'm Abhijit, and I've been in the industry for over 30 years. I started in India with Ranbaxy, which is no more, taken over by the IT Sankya, then moved on to AstraZeneca. My last assignment in pharma was with Novartis. I used to be based out of GBS, Hyderabad, reporting into Switzerland, managing 85 countries. So I was managing the whole of AMAC and the services, getting in the services for Novartis. I left Novartis in 2013 and joined Tech Mahindra, moved into UK, and was managing GSK as a company for Tech Mahindra. We had a $70 million account, then moved into Accenture, again working for pharma, managing Novartis, Shire, Takeda, and other companies, Pfizer. And in the last 5 years, I worked for a startup called Healthcare Interaction, which I left in 2021 and started our own company called Conformance X from August 2021. The idea was plain and clear. I have seen one thing happen time and time again, and it kept me like enticed. What is this? Drug launches, because I have always been part of the commercial team. Drug launches are exciting moment for any pharma company. And there is a lot of spend, there's a lot of activities. But when a drug launch fails, no one talks about it. The only thing you get to see is the investments are pulled off and put into another new drug coming in the pipeline. So to address this issue, we created this platform. And this is where we are today with the MVP product in place, and we are ready to go pilot with any clients that we can onboard as soon as possible.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot for the quick intro. Piyush, may I request you to do an intro, please?
Great. Thank you so much, Pankaj. Hi, everyone. This is Piyush here. My name is Piyush Jain. I work with a healthcare company called Viatris. We make and commercialize iconic brands such as Lipitor and Viagra, which you might be aware of. I'm based out of Dubai, and I lead commercial projects and business operations for Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and emerging market segments of Viatris. Prior to that, I worked with Sun Pharma. So, just a correction. So Ranbaxy went to Daiichi Sankyo, and Daiichi Sankyo went to Sun Pharma. Yeah. So, we have a link there. Yes. Before that, I worked with Dr. Reddy's and Glenmark Pharma. I'm a scientist or pharmacist by training, but my love for commercial and business part of healthcare took me to Mylan and Viatris. So this is pretty much about me. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thanks a lot, Piyush. Really appreciate your presence today. Bertrand, could you please do a brief intro?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Good to meet you all. I'm Bertrand, so I've been in the pharma industry for the last 20 years or so. 15 with Novartis, of which the last 10 in Sandoz, who's now an independent company for the last couple of weeks. And I did also work a bit with GBS folks back in the day, so
Yes.
maybe we overlapped a bit there. For clarity, I do not represent Sandoz here, just myself and personal curiosity to see how I can help, but glad to be part of the panel here.
Fantastic.
You,
really appreciate your time today. And as I mentioned earlier, that we will go through a brief pitch of Conformance X, and then we'll take questions from the panelists. So I'm just going to share my screen, and here we go.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present Brand Launch X. We are a team of distinguished global brand launch experts and consultants hailing from the life science industry, armed with extensive experience in product launches. The genesis of our venture lies in a curious observation. While new drug launches are pivotal for these life science companies, a staggering 90% of them end in failure, a challenge often swept under the rug. In response, Conformance was founded in August 2021 to create a launch platform to empower launch leaders. Our research unveiled a scarcity of accessible launch-related data scattered across various sources, leading to a lack of accountability when launches falter.
Hello, my name is Bob Glasser, and I previously ran marketing for Merck here in the US. I've had the great pleasure of working with a team here at Conformance X on an exciting new solution to help pharmaceutical marketers and specifically new product launch teams to be more successful with their launches in today's changing environment. I don't need to tell you that drug launches are highly intricate endeavors involving multiple tasks, teams, and resources. However, over the past 3 years since COVID-19, research from EY, Deloitte, McKinsey, and IQVIA have concluded that some 86 new drug launches underperformed by 42% compared to pre-pandemic benchmarks, costing their companies over $10 billion in lost revenues. The root causes identified include misalignment of teams, inefficiencies in planning, and inadequate resources, all contributing to a lackluster performance in the critical first 6 months. With this in mind, we embarked on a series of workshops to better identify these challenges in real time, culminating in the development of a definitive framework to construct a platform that will allow more successful new drug launches.
After 18 months of dedication and effort, we proudly present Brand Launch X, the epitome of successful drug launch strategies. Brand Launch X is an intelligent IT platform that maintains constant vigilance over every facet of the drug launch journey, providing you real-time insights, updates, and alerts. This cutting-edge system is further bolstered by our esteemed panel of brand launch experts. The system is structured into 3 major segments. The very first section is Planner, which is a repository of over 1,500 tasks, enabling customization, template usage, or import of other existing plans. The second segment is Launch Impact Navigator, which is an AI-powered early warning system identifying launch risks and their impact, facilitating the course correction to ensure the on-time and budget launch delivery. The final section is Recommender, which will deliver launch benchmarks based on live data, optimizing new drug launches. Brand Launch X is a purpose-built for life sciences companies, designed in collaboration with global brand launch experts and tailored for global launch leaders. The system is highly customizable, enabling you to craft your bespoke launch plans. It's very, very scalable. You can host multi-brand, multi-country, multilingual launches. Brand Launch X is very flexible and can import data from various tools like Excel, Smartsheets, or datasets. And knowing the industry compliances, the system is GDPR and HIPAA compliant, ensuring encryption and anonymization.
Brand Launch X reduces time involved in alignment and visibility by over 70%, enabling business to efficiently strategize their launches. The platform's capacity to optimize collaboration and alignment, aided by audit trails, can reduce unproductive discussions and duplication of efforts by over 50%, enabling conformity and accountability. Brand Launch X also impacts financial, offering potential savings of up to 25 to 30% in launch value creation. Brand Launch X provides visibility across the launch journey, aiding decision-making, thus maximizing the potential for positive drug launch performance. Thank you.
Okay, I think we are ready to take questions, right, Ankitash and Abhijit?
Yep, sure.
Yes.
So can I go first?
Yeah, please, Piyush.
Piyush.
Thank you. So quite an interesting teaser, I would say. Good job there, team. So the first question, I mean, I'm looking at it from an inward perspective. Let's say someone who is sitting in, let's say, a prospective client base or of a pharma company. Listen, so we have teams who are dedicated, dedicated in the job of launching products, leading the cross-functional team. So how does this solution, complements that as number one, or either it competes with that? So that's my first question.
So I can answer that. So Piyush, it's more of complementary and enabler. The first thing is, if you look at this whole industry even now, and you will be surprised to know people still use Excel and smart sheets to track work by function. And it's always siloed. Think of different functions working as silos.
Yeah.
And when it comes to launch, they all have to come together, collaborate, coordinate, and deliver. Right now, if you look at all companies, I can tell from my experience with AstraZeneca, Novartis, even companies of that size are struggling because they lack coordination, and teams don't talk to each other. So there is a lot of duplication of efforts, a lot of like resource not hired, so task remaining pending. A task getting delayed can impact other tasks. So there are so many things that can be addressed and inefficiencies can be addressed. So this is going to be an enabler. So you can plan where functions can do their own planning, or they can all come together and plan the whole launch, led by the launch leader. And you can see everything on the dashboards. So you can see we have customized it to that extent. If a function or a hierarchy wants a certain aspect of the module to be seen, only that will be seen. If you want to see everything, everything can be seen. So it's completely customizable, scalable. It's multi-country. So like I can give an example. You mentioned that you cover whole of emerging markets, Australia, New Zealand, think of Korea. They all do their market access or patient journey assessment or forecast. And they all have to come together. Whereas you can have all those in the same platform and see what's happening where, because you need inputs from different markets to kind of finalize your plan as well. So this is what it is going to do. It's going to change the way, it's just going to drive efficiency and optimize the whole launch process. That was the objective.
So thank you for that. So in essence, it's a program or project management solution, catering especially to the launch.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, I mean, there's a lot of talk about this silos in launch and different departments, starting with commercial, R&D, manufacturing, operations,
market access,
working in silos, and there's no seamless integration. There's a lot of talk of that, and there's awareness in corporate world about that, and everyone's trying to minimize that or work towards a solution. And that's why I'm talking about solutions like Primavera, linked with Power BI come into picture. So how does your solution, how do you differentiate yourself against, let's say, something like Primavera portfolio management?
So what has happened?
Yeah.
If you look at Primavera, they are not designed. They are a project management tool, but ours is a platform which is specifically designed for launch. So the first part of the platform is called Planner. So it's already inbuilt with 1500 plus tasks, also bespoke launch plans. Supposing you want to launch a rare drug or an oncology drug, or even Viagra, you can pick up a plan and use it. It can be for a country, it can be for certain markets. It's all inbuilt into the system. Not only the launch plans, but also the data behind the plans. How much time this task generally needs, how much money this needs, so that we can optimize and show you what are the warning signals, if something has gone wrong, what will be the impact on your budget. So this is all pre-populated and pre-done. You just have to tick and the plan comes into play.
Right. So
I'll just add a few more points to Abhijit's answers in terms of, it's not just a project management tool per se, it's a complete platform. And when we say that our Prime, we're not targeting to include a complementary product for the already brand launch teams working in silos and whatever the challenges are. Of course, that's one of the things which we want to do. But our prime focus is to ensure that whenever a drug launch is happening, it happens well within time and well within budget. And there are many, many reasons for that it does not happen. And those are the reasons which we're planning to cater. One is, of course, people working in silos, so there's no alignment. So we are giving a seamless integration. The another point which we have come across is a lot of times because these launch managers, they keep on changing rules and all of that. There is no written document around what does a good launch looks like and all of that. So that's what we are planning to come, telling them these are the red signals or warning signals from a launch perspective. You should be doing this. You should not be doing this. And if something goes south, we also have a recommendation panel coming onto picture wherein they tell you the course correction way to ensure that you're on the right track or not. So that's how we plan to cater to the entire launch arena in itself, rather than being just a project management tool like Primavera is.
Right. And do you have something included in the solution which kinds of, I understand. So this is a platform, there's a process, there are templates, there are tasks, it's built, and it can be customizable. I'm talking about the human element here. So you talked about experts in the pharma industry being on your board or being on part of your team. So is there a solution where those experts can come in? So let's say I'm trying to launch a product. So there's a platform where I can take the template, upload the tasks and stuff like that. But if I have to talk, or if I have to get a guidance from one of your experts, is there a human element included in this platform?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's
yes.
what Ankidash mentioned. The recommendation bit is completely managed by very experienced experts, people who have done more than 20 launches across markets. So we have people from US, people from Europe, across Europe, the global markets, the global teams, and across companies, big size and small size. People have done rare drug launch, cardiovascular, Dharma. So we have a huge, extensive board, and they are all available. I'll show you the platform. They are all connected to the platform. So if something goes wrong, they will step in, and they'll come get a recommendation that this is a course correction. And if you want to talk, you just need to say yes, and we set up a meeting. So it's all part of the plan. Yes, we have done that, thought through.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll jump in with a couple of questions, Piyush, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So first, I would like to better understand, you talked about 1,500 standard tasks and other things. And obviously for launch, you have, let's say, two parts. One is getting the product to market, and then is the commercial piece itself. Which one of these two is the platform focused on, or is it both? Because both have different set of complexities and intricacies.
So what you're talking of is a great question, because you're talking from a commercial perspective, and launch is like pre-commercialization. It starts from when the drug is ready to be launched and you start acting. So we look at almost like 36 to 48 months. So it's minus 30 when you can start planning. You can start putting in all the tasks and tracking all the tasks till launch, and then 12 months post-launch, so that you know that you have got a positive launch performance. So we literally track everything and monitor and provide impact and recommendation throughout the whole launch process. Yes, most of the, out of the 1,500, almost 300 tasks relates to commercialization, which we track and can be tagged with your Viva system or something, It's all integratable.
Okay. So it covers the whole life cycle. And then to your point just now, you said many times it can be customized and everything. Now, I think as Piyush said, I mean, companies have different ways of planning and managing for launches, and there are some platforms out there for this, or you could use a project management tool, or in some cases people use Excel as well. But one challenge when trying to use something like your offer is how much work is needed to customize it to our process. So first question is, how much input did you get, other than you have a few experts, of course, on your team and board, but how much input did you get from companies that are actually preparing for launches to map out the process and make sure that you would cover most of the actual terminology or the ways different companies would prepare for launch?
So if you look at, I will show you a glimpse of the platform. If you look at the terminologies, the task time, the budgets, everything is taken from real-time launches. Everything is experiential. We have taken nothing based on, because we come from pharma and we worked with only pharma launch experts. So all the inputs have come from them based on launch experience. So to address your first question, it is based on launched drugs which have been launched in the past by therapy area, but we have collated across therapy area, whether it's oncology, rare disease, CV, derma. Similarly, it has been collated. So there are like, MABs and rare disease like Dravet syndrome. So we have got those kind of, very niche plans as well. So we have collated. And the other thing the platform allows you, we have got a content management system at the back end. So we have a glossary. You may want to call a task something else. It's very easy to change on the go, but it will still need that much time.
Okay.
It will still need some budget. So we have checked all those, and we have done multiple simulations as well using Monte Carlo to kind of, provide launch impact navigator.
Okay. Okay, makes sense. And indeed, we can take a look a bit later at the
Yes.
platform. Now, you also talked a lot, even in the video pitch, about AI and data. It's not yet clear to me actually which, beyond the platform, the collaboration, the planning tool, what substance this platform is bringing. So when you talk about benchmarks and data, what exactly are we talking about, and how fresh is that information?
So right now the benchmark is mostly collated benchmark, but we believe with few launches that we kind of, pilots that we will get into, we want to kind of customize the benchmark by therapy area, by indication. So we think it will take at least 3 years. Right now, it's very, very generalized because you can understand we got collated launch inputs and experiential data from multiple different launches. And we don't think that is the right benchmark. So to validate an experience, we are looking for more data based on the pilots and the projects that we will do. And we will validate and provide you the right kind of benchmarks, because this is something the industry is missing. So Ankitash mentioned one thing, good launch practice by therapy area. So what can be a good launch practice for a rare drug in neurology? We want to publish those kind of papers. What is the benchmark that you should look at to optimize your budget and launch within time? So I don't know if you may be aware of this, and there are studies which are showing up now that the launch period to achieve success is also reducing beyond 6 months. Because in the past, it was like you have to achieve a positive performance between 6 months to 12 months. Right now, it's going below that because there's so many drugs on pipeline. And competition is only getting tougher with newer and newer, innovations coming in the drug. So the sooner you get.
Ankita, do you
I think
want
we'll
to
also have.
continue with the?
Yeah, so I'll just continue on to where Abhijit left. So the way the point he was trying to make is that we are planning to have a lot of benchmarks and analogs related to whatever data we can collate, and that's what we are earning for at the moment. And if we get some pilots based on our whatever machine learning algorithms and the AI we have put up in the system, that is going to get validated with the real-time data, and that's when we plan to publish those papers and prepare analogs for. Supposedly, if you have to launch a rare disease drug, that's when our analog comes into picture. It just tells you it takes usually this much time. Even if you have to plan out a task for market access or something else, it usually takes this much time as per the industry standard. So it also usually costs this much. So in this particular matter, that's what we are aiming to, attain the data and bring this to the entire world.
Okay, so Ankitash, on this point, I think I guess the key point is what level of granularity and non-trivial data can you gather, right? Because of course you can go to IQVIA or other consulting firms and everybody has their launch benchmark and will tell you. So would you think you are able to say, okay, it takes 9 months and so much budget to access market X, or is it more the set of activities? Because if it's the former, that's more generic information that you could.
It's gonna be very, very granular, because when Abhijit said that we've got a list of 1,500 tasks banked, those 1,500 tasks it's a very, very exhaustive list of all the activities which you're gonna perform, and it also includes activities like you need to start preparing a hiring plan, you need to start looking for a hiring agency, things like that. Even the smallest activity is being measured during that. So when we are going to collect data, it's going to be on those trivial activities. It's going to be very, very granular. So when we are going to give you the analog, it's going to be far more accurate than a generic one. That's what we plan to do.
Okay, got it. So a question related to that one then. Most pharma companies are quite secretive about their launch information because by definition, a lot of it is confidential. It's also share price sensitive information. And you don't want to spread that, right? So two questions. And one is, how do you view data collection in that sense, being a reality? And second, and I'm not an expert in that, I can just ask the question, I cannot judge the answer, is how do you intend to convince IT departments in pharma companies that the solution is safe, because it's a third-party hosted solution, I suppose, to store information that could be material on launches and practices of launches across markets?
So to your first question, yes, the data is not there because the companies are very secretive. And that has been one of our biggest challenge, to not say with 100% confidence that whatever model which we have built is going to work in real time, because we can't validate. We do not have the data to prove that. So that's what the challenge is. And what we have done is we have created some sort of simulations, which is based on Monte Carlo simulation. So that simulation, what it does is, even with some smaller amount of data, it creates a lot of real-time instances just to extrapolate that sort of data set. And that's where we plan to, whatever data collection we are going to do from Brand Launch X, it's going to be go through our entire simulation exercise for all the real-time instances, what may occur, what may not occur. There's a big decision tree which is running in those simulated activities, and that's when we are planning to validate whether the model which we have prepared for is working as per the expectations or not. And the second thing, the second thing to the first question, the model which we have created is very well taken from the industry experts, like the people, very very experienced people who are sitting on our board. They have given their inputs and they have vetted it for whatever the results are coming from. That is why we are very sure that the model is going to work in the real time. It's just that we haven't proven it, and we just need time to prove it to make sure that the model works. And for your second question, in order to convince the IT companies, all we can say is, we are very, very compliant in terms of whatever the rules and regulations are. All the rules of GDPR, HIPAA, all of those compliances are in place. I myself have been working in this industry since last 15 years, and I've deployed IT solutions across all major pharma. So if somebody is from their IT, they probably may be knowing my name or Abhijit's name from some connection, because we have done that in the last 6 to 7 years. So we are bringing that sort of credibility with us, that whatever we are bringing is very, very safe, very, very secure as per the pharma IT standard, and not something with we are simply saying. Of course, it's going to go through their very rigorous process of all the compliance check, all the security checks. We are well aware of that and we are well prepared to go through that rigorous process of checking. So I think we are fully prepared to convince them that the system is secure and there is a way to collect the method. And that method which we are using is completely anonymized. So no data is going to be shared here and there. The only data which we're going to use is going to be anonymized, but used for our purposes. That's the entire process which is there when we started designing this entire tool.
We call it data in a box. It's like everything is boxed by company. And whatever we kind of, input, we take inputs is basically what we need to kind of do study on the benchmarks. So we don't need a company name or a drug name for that. We only look at the therapy area or indication and look at the time and budget used and how well it was done, so that we can get the benchmarks. So we need anonymized data. We don't even need company level data. We have done those simulations and it works in the simulation. So hopefully we can convince the companies,
And then there's this new concept of privacy by design after the GDPR has come into effect. So our system is actually completely built on privacy by design architecture and principles. So that's what we can, show them the proof or the diagrams or whatever IT things they need. So.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah. No, these are good questions. Thank you so much. I also reached out to someone in Sandoz, because I know you're planning to launch a lot of MABs and immunologicals across
Mm-hmm.
markets. It's a busy time. So I don't know if you know
Yes.
Sairam Nair.
No. Where is that? In the headquarters in Global? Where is she?
He is in
He or he?
Global. He's based out of Hyderabad right now. He was
Ah,
in,
okay. Never,
but
no,
he
never come
heads
across
the
yet. But
delivery services. So
okay.
I'm in touch with him. He
And
mentioned
what
that,
what is the what's I mean, what is the plan invoicing model? How are you planning to run this? Is it like a service or is it one time you buy the platform for X years with maintenance? What's
so we have a kind of 3 different buckets. So there are,
mhm,
how do you want to manage the data? So there are 2 things. How we start is our platform comprises of the platform, client success manager, and the brand launch experts. So brand launch experts come in, initially they are more active, and then they can be once a month, while the launch is on for 1 year. While the client success manager is something, we ensure that the data is brought into the system. So this is one challenge which was raised by a launch expert across many companies, that whenever they go for launch meeting, some people come, some people don't come. And the data, I will do it next week, I'll do it another day. And that's what leads to all the delays that happens. So one
mhm.
set of data not been input may impact another task, but that person may not understand. Like medical affairs, it happens a lot, commercial and medical affairs not talking to each other, and medical affairs taking their own time. So we have inbuilt the client success manager into the platform to ensure that the first 3 to 6 months, he works with the client point of contact or single point of contact to ensure that we get all the data in, because that will drive the success of the launch also. So once those 6 months are done and we think the data is coming through, we can tell you that you can take off the client success manager and your point of contact is delivering. So those kind of model. So except
But
for
then
the
in terms
initial
of
startup
how
fee,
you would how would companies pay for this? I guess is more you're buying a service for a given duration or a given number of launches or
yeah, software as a service with launch
okay.
frameworks. You can use it for one launch or multiple launches. So the more launches you take, the better it is for you, because then we also have a visibility across how many launches, and we can assign you that kind of platform, which can be customized
Mhm.
by market. So it's mostly by user fee. Simple as a SaaS, that's what we call it.
Okay. Thanks.
Because one thing we realize, Bertrand, if you will understand, like every launch is different, and you cannot compare an oncology or a rare drug launch with a CV launch or a
Mhm.
MAB launch, one of your immunologicals with one CV drug launch, because the patient journey is different, everything is different. The market access is different, the pricing pattern is different, the forecasts are different by different markets. So we thought of all those kind of challenges. It's flexible,
Okay.
it's customizable, and it's scalable. Those are the 3 things we thought of.
Sounds good. Maybe one last question for me before I hand back over to Piyush if he has more. I think I read or you said that the company was formed in 2021. Now we
Yes.
are in October 23. So I guess question is what stands in the way of getting the first actual client experience on the platform? You did say you took like 15, 18 months to develop it, but
So
then
the
what?
platform, yeah, good question again. The platform got ready around May, June,
Hmm.
2023. And that's when we had reached out to kind of Pankaj, and we wanted to be part of this program, accelerator program. The thing is, I have
Okay.
been talking to my links across different companies. I have been in pharma for
Hmm.
so many years, and my links are like still have Connect, Novartis, AstraZeneca, UCB, and Shire is no more. They have all moved to Takeda, like some
Yeah.
of my contacts. So these are the 4 companies I have connect with, and they are big companies. They take their own time. So even I checked with Novartis and Sairam, and even with Novartis, they don't even have a platform now. They still manage in Excel. But getting all the stakeholders together and getting the yes is taking time.
Hmm.
AstraZeneca also, we have had a good kind of, still the discussion is on. So they're still using worksheets, which you will be surprised to know. They don't have any visibility across markets. And the UK market doesn't talk to the global, like US market is very different. So these disconnects are kind of, so we are trying to figure out what will be the best way. We really are looking forward to the first client and show that the system works. So if Piyush can help us, nothing like it, I'm just hopeful, we want to show the differentiation that this
Yeah.
platform can bring in.
Okay.
And it's honest that I have been struggling. Even yesterday, there was a talk with one of my friends in UCB. They had 2 launches recently approved. One for ankylosing spondylitis and one for myasthenia gravis. And he was telling that they got approval in Europe, but in Europe they are struggling. Their cost per patient is much higher than what they were proposing, and they don't have a backup plan. They know they are not going to hit the forecasts. So he was telling, we really would like to see a plan to kind of, have an overview what's going wrong before we launch in the US. And we can optimize the launch plan. So they don't have it. But again, the buy-in for big companies is a difficult one.
Yeah,
So
takes forever for sure.
Yeah, the hierarchy thing, and everyone is like in their own zone. You know how the pharma works.
And one of the observations I have since the recent like few years, or let's say few quarters, is the tendency for the organizations to look for external consultants and solutions and platforms. It is being tempered by cost cuts and budget cuts. So especially if I talk about the companies I know or I work for, there's a lot of talk about bringing some of the expertise in-house and managing certain processes, especially launch processes, like I was talking about, in-house for 2 reasons. One is cost, and second is trying to develop that internal expertise and know-how. So that is one of the reasons I guess challenging for nascent companies to get foothold into this kind of clientele, and you have to compete with big wigs like IQVIA, so where they offer end-to-end solutions, not focused on another launch segment. They start with, let's say, market research, forecasting, and then target profile development, then commercialization, clinical trial, and commercialization support. So it's like a bundling of the services, and what you guys are doing is it's good. I mean, I like the concept. It's niche, but it's kind of niche, and in midst of all these restructurings and cost cuts, reaching out to decision makers, finding their time, explaining, and then of course getting their buy-in on getting them to open the purse string. It's gonna be difficult, but I hope that you guys can make it work.
Well, yeah, that's been a very that's a struggling point for us for sure. Yeah, we'll see.
So just to address this question, I can tell you one from experience of the launch experts that we have onboarded. They mentioned that if you look at what has been happening, and please don't quote me, and it's not my statement, it's one of the launch experts who mentioned that there has been a trend in pharma. If you look at how pharma works and operates, big pharma mostly and major medium pharmas, every 2 to 3 years, people get promoted. So are you literally having those launch experts in-house? And when it comes to launch is a specific task where you have to get things right from day one. It's getting right first time, so that you launch on time, on budget.
Yeah.
So this expert was telling people who have never done a launch, getting launch lead roles just because they are senior in the hierarchy and trying to launch. They cannot get everyone on board, and the alignment and support needed. So that has been a big challenge across big companies. Like companies like GSK, AstraZeneca, they have outsourced so much of their roles to outside people. Think of Novartis, this GBS team does so much of their work, and they're not even connected because they're more of a delivery team. But they have launch roles in GBS also. So getting the buy-in of different markets, Germany, UK, US, it's not an easy task. And these guys have never launched, to be honest, but they have got launch roles. So, and there is nothing to fall back on. There is no SOPs. You may have an Excel-based thing, but that is not designed for purpose. So there is a lot of inefficiencies. I really wish we could address everything, but that is never the case, but we want to focus on what we can based on what we have right now.
So just a question on a tech side, maybe, is there a capacity constraint on how many clients you can onboard without, inundating the platform? I mean, how much capacity does the platform hold to manage, let's say, range of clients? Is there a tech constraint on that, or from a tech side, or there's no constraint?
Ankita, you're on mute.
Sorry. So there's no constraint as such, Piyush, but the way these cloud technologies have evolved in the last few years, you really don't have to build for, let's say, 100 customers per se. We can always scale up very easily with just a push of a button if the need arises. So the way our system integrates with these cloud facilities are, at the moment, we are very sure that even if 10 clients on board at the same time, it's going to work. But if we need to increase the capacity, it can be done within a moment. So that's how this is all. There's no tech constraint to onboard any client.
All right.
And we always look at kind of a backup, So whatever we have signed up for, there will always be backup of data, backup of everything. And that's the kind of agreement we have, so that there's nothing lost.
Yeah, I think we just want to share also one reflection from my side. It seems to me that at this stage, probably what you need is proof of concept somewhere that, one pilot, one client picks it up and, makes it work or not, or gives you feedback, and then you can prove that it's actually adding value to the process. As I think, as was said earlier, there's, of course, project management is important, as well as benchmarking and stuff. In the end, launch is also a lot about human communication and how people work together. So you will need to prove that the tool can add value and potentially overcome typical pitfalls that people have. And yeah, this first or two projects, I think, are going to be critical. There's one, of course, avenue, which is to go with people who already commercialize a lot of services to companies, like IQVIA or others, right? Because I don't know if they have this kind of tools and platforms available to them, but certainly they have the conduit into into the buyers, and that's what they do. They offer different types of services. But yeah, definitely it could be an interesting platform. Launch is a topic for most companies. So if there is a way to demonstrate that it adds value, I could see kind of a niche positioning there, and that could make sense.
Thank you so much, Bertrand. Yeah, we are very hopeful, and we are looking for our first client to go ahead and prove our value proposition that we bring to the table. So if there's an opportunity at your organization, I would sincerely appreciate an opportunity to talk.
I'll keep it in mind as well, in case, I'm not decision makers on this, but at least it's good to know that this exists. And if I, come across the opportunity, we'll definitely reach out to you guys. It's good to have met you.
Bertrand, if I may ask, any recommendation from your side on the go-to-market or on the partnerships to acquire these enterprise pilots efficiently? Any recommendation from your side?
Look, at a high level, I would say there's two entry points, right? One is more like the tech delivery teams, probably people that, Abhijit already know and who provide solutions and offers to companies. But probably the most promising one would be people in the headquarters who are working on portfolio and launches, and also have always this fantasy of control, because they want to control, they want to know, monitor in real time. When you're running operations in a country, it's okay, it's important, but there's not that much, need or craving for this. But even though I'm not saying it would not add value, but the need is not so strong. So I think that should be the point of entry, is to try and sit down with people who are managing launch performance, monitoring commercial excellence regionally or globally in big organizations, and discuss with them and see how this could add value, and then probably pitch in a pilot project for free. Even maybe you are going to have to do 1 or 2 for free and prove that it adds value, and then hope that business will come from that. Because I do believe a lot of large companies will ask you, prove to me that it's been adding value to another organization before I'm going to spend time on this.
Yeah.
Please remember, however customizable and easy the platform is, there will be time to load the data, train people, understand, and not to mention, managing data around issues around data privacy, confidentiality, security, which most pharma companies are paranoid about. So, I mean, the entry cost is still going to be quite significant for any player. And that's why, yeah. But I would rather say convince a business owner globally that this could add value, and then take it from there.
Okay.
100% agree, Bertrand. Great point. Yeah.
Extremely valuable.
Yeah, because only global launch leaders are more paranoid. And if you can get across someone like that somewhere, I'm sure it will make more sense. Thank you so much, Bertrand. Really appreciate your input.
You're welcome. All right, I also got to go, but thank you for the opportunity to attend, and good luck, and happy to stay in touch.
Thank you, Bertrand. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bertrand.
Take care. Stay